Well, Tim, Randy, I recently heard from somebody that the wines out in Iowa, our neighbors to the southwest here in Wisconsin, are much like Iowans themselves. They're approachable, humble, and straightforward.
And that is Pearls of Wisdom, brought to us by young Tim Bona, the nation's leading author of golf and our Links and Libations magazine. And sitting to his right is Randy Weckerly, I have no idea what I do here.
Uncle Randy.
What do I do here? Anyway, this is the Distillery Channel with distilleries, breweries, and wineries of the world. And we are going to go just a little bit, as young Tim said, south and west, just north of Des Moines and south of Alaska. We are going to wine country in Iowa, young Tim.
Just south of Alaska.
Well, it is.
Oh, that's right. Alaska's coming up later.
It is.
Yeah.
Get that in there.
Yeah.
Anyway, Iowa wine country, and online we have Mr. John Barber, who also has a winery out in Iowa that cellar at White Oak, but apparently he's found a way to put wine in the glass if we were to venture out there and want to have a sip or two. And he said he'd open that up to us, young Tim.
Nice.
Anyway, John, how are you, sir?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I'm doing fine. How about yourselves?
We're persevering through another winter like you are, and I know your grapes out there have been rebooted over the decades to handle these winters. History of Iowa wines is one of continual setbacks. I know with the winters, the prohibition, obviously everybody went through that darn corn thing. Those row crops keep getting in the way, and the pesticides in the air. But you guys have persevered out there, haven't you?
Yes, we have. We worked very hard to do that. And it's one thing that our technology allows us to communicate so much better these days. And I think that the relationships with the neighboring farmers and stuff like that, we all kind of understand each other better. And when you're searching for a good quality of life, you've got to have all these things available. The CSAs who bring that farm-to-table food, and us wineries who, of course, complement any kind of food dish by bringing in some of these nice cold climate wines. So now we're having fun, and it's growing like crazy.
Well, you've had quite an economic impact out there on your website. $420 million economic impact in the state of Iowa. $41 million of what does that say? Wine related spending per year.
Related spending and stuff. Yeah.
That's a lot of commas and zeros.
$2,600 or 2,600 jobs. When the wine industry first started up in Iowa back in the late 90s, there was about 30 acres of grapes. Now we have like 300 vineyards and about 1,300 acres of grapes. That really kind of is out there to be able to sustain this industry. 100 wineries kind of smattered all over the countryside, and really makes for a nice weekend to grab onto one of the wine trails and see what they have to offer, and kind of get on a mission, to go across the state and see like Wisconsin. I think people gravitate towards the oceans, but oceans of corn have something to offer too.
I noticed that many times going back. I lived in Northern Illinois, and when I worked out in Omaha. That drive, you would see the corn everywhere. But that, farm to table, the wholesomeness of Iowa, in Des Moines is just growing in a way that is incredible.
It is. John Barber, Vice President with Iowa Wine Growers Association, joins us this morning. John, 75 to 80% of the wine market nationwide is sweet, so it should be a natural niche for you in Iowa, but large untapped market out in your state, isn't it?
Yeah, we tap into about 6% of the whole wine market here in Iowa, and we certainly want to change that. And the whole thing where you just mentioned about us having sweet wine, that's something that really is somewhat of a hurdle for us. Now, there's nothing wrong with sweet wines whatsoever, but the people who like the drier wines have a tendency to avoid, us. But when they actually sit down and sample some of the wines like the Marquettes or Chambersons, whatever we might have at the specific wineries, they're really surprised at the new styles that are available. They really changing things for us a lot.
Yeah. The average connoisseur out there is they know that Iowa wines are coming along gradually, and that there's some bad memories in the past from those glut of all those berry wines. But you're making rapid progress, particularly with some of your reds.
Yes, yeah. Our Marquette, I will stand up to any wine in a blind competition, and we've done quite well in the past. You know, all wine is good. You know, Thomas Jefferson said it, you know, when he came to the U.S., you know, we don't have to buy all this stuff from Europe anymore. We have wines that we can make in the United States that are every bit as good as the European stuff. It's just a little bit different. And it's kind of like that way today still. You know, here we are away from the vinifera in California, and we're just offering something a little bit different, a little higher in acid, a little crisp, a little fruitier than, you know, what you might pick up on the West Coast. But their wines are incredible, too. I mean, you don't eat hamburgers every day, so be diversified. You know, take in what's available out there and expand your palate. So
exactly. One of the things that a lot of people don't know is that over in the European area of the world, France and Italy and stretching down into Spain, there's been a little bit of a wine shortage. They had some growing situations, and you know, women love to drink that white wine in the evening, you know, to settle their nerves a little bit. And I have young Miss Kira here behind the camera shaking her head, and you know, we know that here we like to have a sip or two. But anyway, it's folks like yourself. There's going to be plenty of white and red to go around between now and the end of the year.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, and now it's like you said too. We're getting into spring. It's been a long winter. And, you know, we've got a lot of work yet to do out in the vineyards and stuff. But as the phones ring in, things are going crazy for us. You know, through the Wine Association in Iowa, we have a wine month that we celebrate in May. You know, with social media campaigns to get people back into the wineries around here. It's an exciting business, but it's a lot of work. You know, we don't call the grocery store and have them send grapes to us. We got to raise those too. So this year could be a little bit of a challenge. We don't know when it's actually going to end. Hopefully, we don't have any late frost to cause any damage.
Yeah, and John, like the industry nationwide, worldwide, just getting your consumers to identify the grape names more easily. You know, in Iowa, your St. Croix, you know, Shiraz, St. Croix, they kind of go together, and that's part of the hurdle as well.
Yeah, you know, so if you're in the beer or you're into drinking whiskeys and vodkas and stuff like that, you can either be in Detroit or Des Moines or Denver, and you will find that, you know, you kind of know what to expect. You get a lager, you get a porter, you get an IPA, whatever. So people kind of have an understanding of what they're getting in their glass as they bring it up to themselves. But the wines are a little bit different. They're all new names and stuff. And then a lot of times wineries will call them like, Mama's Back Porch or First Kiss or whatever. So that kind of may confuse some of the people out there. But look at the grape varieties that are in there, the Marquette, La Crescent, Itasca, some of the new ones coming out, Frontenac Blanc. They're spectacular wines. We just made a Frontenac Blanc for the first time this year.
Nice.
And people are loving it. People are really loving it. And it's bone dry, and the fruit it's incredible. So.
Well, we're visiting with John Barber out in Iowa. He does have 8 wine trails, and you might have a golf course or two out there, John, that we've, with our Links and Libations magazine, Golfers Golf, then they sip. Young Tim, did you know that?
I did know that.
Well,
that is. Been on the road a while with you, Randy.
Yeah, well, we've played a little too much golf. Next week is Masters Week, and we're going to be coming up with a new feature that hopefully we can help you with your social media, not only with our Links and Libation updates, but any time that you have, John, some things that you would like to do, bring to our attention. We want to help you get that onto your social media and with your members and your sippers and tasters that you have coming through in your wine trails in the great state of Iowa. And I know golfers are going to be looking for it because they do. When they get done, they only can play golf about 4 hours a day, Tim. Did you know that?
Yeah, you know the most famous Iowa movie statement ever? If you build it, your trails, that is, John, they will come.
Yeah, and
keep up the hard work out there.
And we're going to keep on going here, and don't don't just drive through on Interstate 80. Stop in Des Moines.
Absolutely.
You'll be surprised. It has changed a lot, so it's a great place.
All right, cheers and happy spring to you, John.
Thanks, John. It's great. We'll
Thank
be
you.
there.
Talk
They
to
got that little
talk to you
school
again,
out.
gentlemen.
Yeah, they got that Hawkeye thing out there too. And
Yeah, they do.
they did pretty well.
We got cyclones up here in Ankeny.
I knew I was going to say. I knew I did that
Support our
wrong.
industry big time. So.
I got him to come back.
Yes, you did.
Thanks, John.